Hello and good day. Welcome to the Super Good Camping Podcast. My name is Pamela.
I'm Tim.
And we are from supergoodcamping.com. We're here because we're on a mission to inspire other people to get outside and enjoy camping adventures such as we have as a family. Today's guest is part of our continuing quest to have guests from every province and territory on the podcast at some point. He spends some of his free time solo paddling the backcountry in Saskatchewan and often filming it. His trips last anywhere from a few days to the better part of a month, and always involve fishing. Please welcome Tyler Chilabecki from the YouTube channel Puddle Jumper.
Hey guys.
Welcome. Hi.
What's up? What's going on?
Good. Adjusting to the time change.
Sunday and daylight savings time.
Yeah, lost an hour of sleep.
Which you guys don't do, right? Like you guys just keep chugging along.
I don't know. It's kind of funny. I don't know why people don't move away from the daylight savings time. Like Alberta, I think, voted on it a couple of years ago and they decided to keep the daylight savings. And it's like, in Saskatchewan, we're looking at everybody else going, wow, you guys are just outrageous. Like, what are you guys are doing? Because it's awesome. You never have to worry about it. So the world changes around you.
Yeah. Well, 7 million clocks later going around resetting everything too. And then you have to, it's like, I do this twice a year on my watch. What buttons do I have to push?
Yep. I know that feeling.
Yeah. All right, cool. So you're from Saskatchewan. It looks to me like you do, if not all of your paddling in Saskatchewan, certainly the majority of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever get outside of the province at all?
You know what? There's a time where I actually lived up in Red Lake, Ontario. So that was pretty awesome. It was only for about a year, and I took full advantage of having that big wilderness park there. And there was actually a ton of other stuff there that was just, you go down some logging roads. And you hear about a route and you just kind of go into the backcountry and just do it up. I try to stay Saskatchewan specific, just for my channel because there's just so much to explore here. I mean, you guys kind of just call it Crown Land, and we just kind of call it going out in the bush, because we don't really have any designated paddle parks here like you guys have in Ontario. So yeah, there's so much to explore here and so much that's undocumented. That's where I kind of try and keep my focus with my channel, is trying to document all these different routes that no one really knows about. So I absolutely love doing that. And just to explore, like it's fantastic.
Yeah, so frame of reference wise, everyone thinks of like Saskatchewan flat prairies, wheat. There obviously it's not all that, because that's your channel shows it's not all that.
Yeah. No, that's one of the reasons why I started my channel, is because I got frustrated with that stereotype. And yeah, we are fairly flat. Manitoba's flatter. And there's this just stereotype, and you can watch your dog run away for 3 days, things like that. And there is aspects of Saskatchewan like that. But once you kind of start learning the landscape, and like, for example, if you're driving across Saskatchewan, everybody just kind of drives across, the Trans-Canada Highway, and that's the only impression that they get. If you see hilly areas, that means, like, when you think back about 10,000 years, I'm going off on a tangent here. You think about going back about 10,000 years and the glaciers just kind of receded. If you see a flat area, like a really, really flat area that you're driving through, and basically that used to be lake bottom. If you see sometimes really hilly areas, sometimes the glacier would stop advancing and stop receding, and it would just kind of stay in one area and it would just start dropping material. So a place just north of here, Buffalo Pound, if you're on the south side of Buffalo Pound, which is kind of a reservoir, it's all really flat, and it used to be a glacial lake. And then north of Buffalo Pound, it's all really hilly, and that's where this terminal moraine kind of built up. And then the actual Capel Valley that runs all the way to Manitoba, that used to be a big, like basically a big glacial river cut that. So if you're traveling through and just armed with a little bit of knowledge, the landscape becomes a lot more interesting, and you can actually see what's, how the landscape changes and what used to be there, as far as like glaciation, because it formed everything obviously pretty much in Canada. And then we actually got an area, Cypress Hills, that wasn't covered by glaciation. I think it was like one of the only places in Canada over the last glaciation, so the Wisconsin glaciation. So, but kind of like, Northern Saskatchewan, and just being trees and shield, like it's just like Northern Ontario. It's a little different. Like we do have some different landscapes up there. You might have heard of the Athabasca sand dunes, but it's the reason why our flag in Saskatchewan, the bottom is gold and the top is green, is because the green represents the forest up north and the gold represents, of course, the wheat fields. So more like canola fields now, but yeah, that's kind of how it rolls. And that's what I try to highlight is, we have like, that's half of Saskatchewan, like all this, forest, boreal forest, Canadian shield, Athabasca sand dunes, all these different areas. So it's a lot more diverse than people realize.
And you're talking how many hours like north of, say, Saskatoon?
But geez, okay, so if you're in Saskatoon, you probably hit the boreal edge, like it's not the boreal edge, the Precambrian edge. You probably hit it in about 5 hours. So even if you go north to Larange, or kind of east over to Flin Flon, you'd probably hit the Precambrian edge in about 5 hours. So that's that's the only thing about Saskatchewan. If you want to go paddling somewhere like up north, it's gonna take you a while to get here. I live in Moose Jaw, and that takes me about 7 hours just to get to that Precambrian edge. So but Saskatchewan driving is a lot different than a lot of other places. You hit cruise control, and then you just watch the landscape go by. It's awesome.
Listen to a podcast while you're...
Yeah. Oh, tons. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Cool. I suppose that I keep thinking 7 hours because that's beyond Sudbury for us. So we're starting to get pretty north from Southern Ontario. I'm looking out the window like you can see it, but we're in Toronto here.
Mm-hmm. But it's like,
right? Like so that's why you go out for 7 days, 14 days, 24 days, that kind of deal, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Is like if I'm going to go up there, I want to make it worthwhile. There's times when I go on like a boys fishing trip or something like that for a long weekend, but you kind of want to go up on a long weekend. You don't want to just say, hey, I got the weekend and I'm going to go up, because you drive all Friday evening and especially getting older, right? Like you're going to wake up next morning. It's like, oh, you're just going to roll over and go back to bed. And then the next day, like if you fish the second day, like, I mean, you got to make that big drive back. And I've done that before, and that's a young man's game. That's not a game that I want to play anymore. So yeah, no, but it's like I said, it's a different driving. Like if you're going up to Sudbury, you're probably going through a lot of shield and stuff like that through Ontario, right? And it's a lot more stressed. So here it's to get to that edge, it's pretty easy.
Well, you're a big fisher person, so tell us about fishing.
Fisher person.
Yeah, fishing. It's one of my very first memories as a kid. I remember sitting on my front porch, and I had some fishing rod. I think it was about 3 years old. I had a fishing rod. I was pretending I was in a boat on the front porch, and I was, hammering whatever. I didn't even know what fish were really at the time, but I've always really wanted to do it. So when I got older and I got out, I developed a real big passion for fishing. And my brother actually, he moved up to a reserve, kind of in the Flin Flon area, and he was teaching up there. It was right in the Canadian Shield, and the guys would take him out fishing all the time. And I got invited up, and we went out fishing, and I just fell absolutely in love with that area. It's kind of like East Central Saskatchewan. I absolutely love that area. I just have so many good memories associated with it, and I started looking at maps of that area, and I'm like, hey, well, wow, like look at this. I can go from this lake to this lake and this lake to this lake. And they would take us up to this area called Second Medicine Rapids. It's kind of the way to go from the Sturgeon Weir River all the way up to the Churchill River. It's like a historic canoe route, and where the voyageurs would always go up on this canoe route. And you'd hit the first Medicine Rapids, and there's pictographs and great fishing, and you'd go to the second Medicine Rapids, and just the fishing was unreal. We'd just be like 14 casts, 14 fish, that kind of ridiculousness. And it put the bug into me that I could get into all these back lakes. And that's where my drive to go canoeing came from, was I wanted better fishing. And just that led to a whole bunch of other things.
So how busy is it? I mean, I've seen some of your videos where it's like, yeah, I'm 12 days in and I just saw my first people. So that's fabulous. That's totally my jam. Is
Tim
like,
likes that.
yeah. Is it like, what is the backcountry like? There's plenty of times, especially in more busier parks here, like Algonquin, where yeah, it's pretty tough to go 12 days and not run into people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
how does that compare to what you're experiencing in Saskatchewan?
yeah. It's even if you go to the really populated, busy areas, like there is like if you guys know where La Ronge is, kind
No.
of. Okay, so if you know where Prince Albert is,
Yep.
okay, Prince Albert. If you go to about, I think it's 2.5 hours north of Prince Albert, you hit a town called La Ronge. And if you go about 80 kilometers north of that, a lot of it's gravel, you hit a little town called Missinipi. And that's
Oh
kind of
yeah, yeah.
where,
Yep.
yeah, you guys know where Missinipi is? Perfect. Churchill River canoe outfitters, do their thing up there. And it's right along the Churchill River. And if you just go up the rapids a little bit, you get some really, really amazing whitewater canoeing. And they always have a whitewater festival every early July. So highly recommend it. I've never been on it, but I've just heard nothing but good things from it. But that area, you're going to run into a lot of people, and it's actually camped out. They're starting to put in composting toilets and stuff like that in there just because so many people go to it, and it's such a beautiful area, and the
Wow.
whitewater is amazing. And that's going to be your busiest area. And there's a few other areas around Missinipi that, there's the Ducker Loop, Clennon Lake. There's a whole bunch of canoeing in the McLennan Lake area. And those are really busy areas. Not Algonquin busy, but they're busy. Everything else is just wide open. Like everything else is just, you're not going to run into people, especially if you do, you start building your own route. So you just take a look at satellite imagery. You see if there's a trap line or something there, or outfitters using it to skidoo in and out in the winter to get to their camp. And if you build something like that, the most you're going to run into is fishermen. Like I haven't popped across another canoeer, I don't know how long. It's been a really long time. So yeah, it's compared to, like, that's the thing is like compared to Algonquin, the only place I can maybe consider it be like is that Missinipi area. Just because like I said, like everybody's, they need composting toilets. It's hard to find firewood at the campsite, things like that. That would be the only place. And it's such a small area, and Saskatchewan's such a vast area to paddle. So yeah. Yeah. If you want to be alone, it's just Northern Saskatchewan's the place to be, like, honestly.
Sweet. Yeah. Yeah. The boreals. We just did an interview with Stefan Kesting. He's in BC now, but he did a thousand mile trek through the boreal, the north end of Saskatchewan, and it was just like sounded wild. Reindeer Lake, was it?
Yeah.
Reindeer Lake? I happened to was looking at some of your stuff today, and it's like, well, where do I know that from? That's a big body of water, man.
It's huge.
And he paddled through that.
Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
even
cool.
even on that one, I didn't see any other canoeists. It was just, you get a lot of kayakers on that lake because it's such a big body of water, and kayakers don't have to portage then, right? So fishing's great, and the scenery is beautiful.
Sweet. I will say, I'm sure that doesn't apply 100% of the time, but I'm totally jealous. Watching you portage, your stuff is flat, man, in the grand scheme of things, because we're like wah, wah, right? Your stuff is I mean, sure, your issues with alders and stepping into the muck and all that sort of jazz, but you're not high. Yes, you do put it over your head, but you can also drag it. Like you can't. That's not even an option here, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So totally jealous. Just saying.
That is nice. It's Yeah. It's sometimes like we were actually, me and my girlfriend were watching a canoe video last night, and then just being in Algonquin, and it was just like a yellow brick road. The portage was just so straight and so beautiful and well groomed, and I'm just like, oh my god, what's it like to portage on something like that? It's just so amazing.
There are it's some scary. The north end of Canoe Lake, it's like a superhighway. It's flat. It's about 4 lanes wide. People go by with like coolers, two-wheel with boxes of wine and stuff, and you're just kind of like, well, I'm sorry, where does backcountry enter here? What are we talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah, got to get a few more lakes in.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have a favorite of one of your trips that you've done? Or somewhere you keep going back to because you enjoy it so much?
Or 18 favorites?
Yeah. It's you know what? I don't usually like canoeing the same water a whole heck of a lot. I find it kind of boring and repetitious, but there's a few trips that are really kind of close to my heart that I go back to, and it's just like I get there and it feels like I'm home. One of them is like, actually, I did one last fall. I did a little bit of video of it, but I paddled across Kingsmere Lake to go do another trip. But Kingsmere Lake, it's in Prince Albert National Park, so about an hour north of Prince Albert. And it's one of 2 national parks that we have in Saskatchewan. And something about it is just, it's kind of like where I first learned how to J-stroke. And I had that eureka moment. And I kind of did it on my own. And I was just like, oh man, this is so awesome. We didn't have like the Coleman canoe that, you have to like, it's like paddling a tank. We rented a decent canoe, and I learned how to J-stroke, and it was like, it was amazing. And it's a big, beautiful lake it can get kind of a turquoise color to it. Just a little bit, not like some of the lakes that you have in Killarney, nothing like that. But it's still really big, beautiful. And just off of that, you can portage into Lake Oshawan, and Grail's cabin's there. And that's kind of his final resting place. So you can kind of go and do that. And then off to the side, there's a Bagua Loop. That's kind of part and parcel with Kingsmere Lake. And you go through a series of small lakes that have some pretty good walleye fishing and some, nice campsites. I usually hear wolves back there. So that's always kind of cool too. So that's one of them. And another one is actually, I did a trip. It's called Sally Lake, Shali. And I do have like some canoe videos on my channel about Sally Lake. And it was kind of, I think my second effort of actually trying to do a video. And the cool thing about that area is it's called the Pelican Window. It's kind of like the first time I portaged into a lake, and like, not the video itself, but that was one of the first lakes I ever portaged into. And the cool thing about that lake is it's actually, the rock in it, it's 3 billion years old. And it's really unique in Saskatchewan. And it's just a little window of Precambrian rock that's up. And basically all the rock that fills around it is younger rock because of past volcanic activity in the area. So going in there, the rock just looks different. There's some really dramatic landscape in there for Saskatchewan. And I don't know, it just does it for me. I can go in there and I just feel like I'm at home again. So I love that stuff.
Nice. You mentioned with the whitewater, is it fair to assume that there are, do you run into waterfalls and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. Check out, hopefully next year, if my body holds up, hopefully next year I can go visit a place called Hunt Falls. It's Saskatchewan's biggest waterfall. It's pretty impressive. It's not, for Saskatchewan, it's pretty awesome. So, and by any standards, I think it's pretty impressive. So it's not breaking any records, but it's very beautiful. And then one of the bucket list trips that we have in Saskatchewan is to go to Stanley Mission, which is just south of Missinipi. It's in between Missinipi and La Ronge. You start at Stanley Mission, and one cool thing about that trip is you get to see Saskatchewan's oldest building, which is a mission, like it's a church. It's got stained glass windows in the whole bit. I don't even think there was nails used in its construction, if I remember correctly. And you can go visit that, and then you basically go down the Churchill River, and you get to a place called Nastoyik Falls, which is basically a set of falls that kind of run into the Churchill River. There's a fishing lodge right there and stuff like that. And it's an easy trip. There's some amazing pictographs along the way. and it's highly recommended. It's not hard, and it's very beautiful, very scenic. So you'll see canoers on that one.
Do you do a lot of whitewater, Tyler?
No. That's why my channel is called Puddle Jumper, is because I'm really scared of doing whitewater. So I'll do a class 1, class 2, especially with my new canoe. I got Caribou, Clipper Caribou S. S is for sexy. And I can do a little bit of whitewater on it. But my previous canoe there, the Winona Prism, that had no rocker. It was flat and straight and narrow. And even if I got on like boils and stuff like that, like the water was boiling up, it felt like I was going right into the drink. So it was like, basically, I always make the analogy, it's like taking cross-country skis and trying to do downhill. That's what it felt like. So I'm getting into whitewater a little bit more because I am going to be, hopefully, if everything goes right, I'll be doing the Porcupine River here this summer, which is kind of Saskatchewan's preeminent whitewater trip. I'll probably be doing a lot of portaging on it. But yeah, I'll have to suck it up and actually do some whitewater. So do you guys do whitewater?
No, we
Don't say no yet.
We do a little more gentle backcountry. We're reintroducing the young lady to backcountry. Our eldest and I tend to be the backcountry guys, and we're actually going to do May 2-4 weekend. We're doing our intro to whitewater.
Oh, cool.
Up in Palmer Rapids with some friends. So we will see what happens. We've got a trip on the Spanish River in the fall in October. So I figured I should probably have a slight clue about what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I guess what freaks me out the most is about whitewater is that I took intro into whitewater, like to do class 1 and class 2 actually up at Missinipi. And it was a fantastic course. I absolutely loved it, learned a lot, but I guess I didn't ask a lot of questions because sometimes we'd stop and look at stuff and he'd point stuff out and stuff like that. But I still have problems looking at, just analyzing what I'm seeing and understanding what's going on underneath the water. So I always feel when I go into doing whitewater is like, am I seeing what all I'm supposed to see? Like, am I reading that right? Am I understanding what's going on and what I should be doing? And it's still kind of a big blank for me. I need to take another course, quite honestly.
Well, that and just racking up time. Talking to people who do it, you put in the time. Rack up some mileage on there. Go, oh, that didn't play out.
You don't.
I missed that one, right?
And I'm usually solo. Yeah, I'm usually solo. I'm usually kind of going and doing my own thing. So to have that group of people to go with is it's rarity for me. I am part of this group in Regina. It's called Rapid. I think what does it stand for? Regina Area Paddling Interdependency. I think that's what it is. And it's a group, and everybody kind of does a presentation, with different trips that they've done over the summer. They do a presentation. We drink beer and eat wings. And those guys actually, hopefully, if it all works out, I can go with them and we'll hit up this one river called the Montreal River. And it flows up into L'Orange, and it's a great beginner whitewater. It's got class 1, class 2 in the springtime, and it's supposed to be fantastic. And you can kind of shuttle back and forth during the day and just keep on running rapids. Hopefully that works out and I get my reps in.
Yeah, cool. That would probably be a good the shuttling back and forth, rerunning the same thing so that you can have another look at what you ran and what you felt when you ran that one. All right, let's see what happens if this is the look, this is the channel through, the line through.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, completely off topic. What the hell's wrong with you? What's with the Maple Leafs hat?
Oh. Yeah, you're telling me. I think every Maple Leaf fan kind of comes to that conclusion. Like, so what is going on? Why am I cheering for this team? My family, my dad was a Maple Leafs fan way back when there was the original 6. Of course, he cheered for the Maple Leafs, and it kind of rubbed off on me. Like I guess the apple didn't fall far from the tree. So that's kind of, and it's been an infectious ever since. And I don't know, it feels like I want to give up on the team, but it's hard to quit. I'm finding it hard to quit. Yeah, I take it you're a Montreal Canadiens fan.
I'm not an anything fan.
Okay.
Hockey's not my thing, but living here in Toronto, it's like, why? Why? What's wrong with you, man?
Punishment,
It's
man.
not
Just
going to
like-
happen. You know it's not going to happen. It never happens. 63 or whatever. Like, come on.
I think it's like the slot machine. It's like, okay, it hasn't paid out the last 99 times I've pulled the handle. This 100th time, it's got to pay out.
No.
No. Well, the most frustrating thing is they do good so like during the regular season, and then playoffs they just, lack for a better term, they shit the bed. And it's so frustrating. It's just like, what just happened here? Why is my team like not showing any gumption? It's just, then it makes it hard to root for them. It's like, where's the passion, boys? Like, come on, like what's going on? And it's just, they just seize up and flunk out.
And I mean, again, not a hockey guy, but you watch things like, you got Tavares. Yeah, that's the guy. He's going to do it. And then, it's the crap the bed thing. It's like, what happened? What just happened? Seriously, come on.
I know. And there was so much hope, like when they got Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner and Nylander and all those guys, Tavares, and it was all this hope. And it was just like, you see these guys just kind of slowly wasting, I don't want to say wasting their career, but just missing opportunities. And it's just like, oh God, that's got to suck. So, and it's like time's running out on those guys. Like they're at their peak and it's pretty soon it's going to be downhill. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. Gotta have hope.
Also have to have a small fortune to afford tickets.
Oh God, yeah, thank God. I, there's no way I'd buy tickets for that team. There's just, you don't even know if they're going to show up that night. So you have no clue. And it's like to pay that much for tickets. It's just like, no, thanks guys.
Yeah, it's insane. This is a camping podcast. We're talking about hockey. My dad and I went, my mom bought us tickets, a few years back for Father's Day, and we were up sort of halfway up, and they were $400 a ticket, man. Oh. And I'm like, that's nuts. So it's the one and only Leaf game I've ever been to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it in the Maple Leaf Gardens or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. It was at
Air Canada
Center? Scotiabank.
I who knows what it is called now? Whatever.
Yeah, it's Scotiabank Arena, I think. No, I've seen more concerts at Maple Leaf than I've seen hockey games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, back to camping.
All right, sorry.
So you mentioned Porcupine River. Have you got other trips planned for the summer?
I got 2 trips planned. The Porcupine's going to take me 3 weeks. So I only have a certain amount of time off to get off of work. So, but I have another week to play with. And what I'll be doing is going that East Central Saskatchewan. I don't know. It just does it for me. So kind of like where that Sally Lake was, kind of in the same vicinity. There's it's basically it's a feeder area for the Sturgeon Weir River, which flows down to the Saskatchewan River. So the Sturgeon Weir, just a little background, was the link between the Saskatchewan River and the Churchill. So if you can kind of picture it there, and it kind of runs along the Manitoba border, like it's on the west side of the Manitoba border, so in Saskatchewan. And that area in there's a bunch of historical documented canoe routes that the government of Saskatchewan put out, and there are a few documented trips in that area, but there's so much more going on in there. So 2 things I want to accomplish this spring is to go in there for a week. I'm going to a lake called Kakaagimak Lake, and it means the lake is long, apparently, in Cree. And the fishing in there is amazing. It's just every time I've gone in there, I've slayed fish, and I can't wait to get back. But there's a couple of offshoots from that lake that it's not documented or anything like that, and I want to build portage. That whole area, actually, if I get ambitious enough, I would love to map it, because there's not a lot of information on it. I'd love to map it and get that out to people, just that information. So just where portages are, because it's really underutilized. Like you're so close to civilization, but no one goes in there unless you're one of the First Nations up there who have a cabin back there, or you're an outfitter. I've never met another canoeer back there. It's awesome. for such a short drive too. So that's one of my shorter drives is 7 hours.
So when you get somewhere like that, you just park your vehicle somewhere.
Parking on the side of the road is not totally advised because people will come along and mess with it in that area, or really in any area. So what I usually do is there, for example, on this trip, I'm probably going to be calling a place called Slim's Cabins. I'll phone up Slim's, say, hey, can you shuttle me from here to here and then pick me up at this time? And they'll be like, yep, sure. And they'll drop me off on that on the river that I'm going to be going up, and they'll pick me up at a set time. So there's usually outfitters are really good. You can either park at them or they'll even give you a shuttle for a fee. So that's kind of where you go. There's not a lot of canoeing specific outfitters other than like Missinipi, Churchill River Canoe Outfitters. There's a few others, but that's kind of the big game in town, and you're kind of reliant on setting stuff up with outfitters. So, for example, when I go up and do the Porcupine Plain, or it's not Porcupine Plain, sorry, there's a town called Porcupine Plain here in Saskatchewan. But if you go up to the Porcupine River, there's certain outfitters or people that you can talk to that will help you out, either give you a shuttle or whatever. So, you find out, you ask questions. Like I said, Churchill River Canoe Outfitters is if you need to know information on a lot of that stuff up in way northern Saskatchewan, they're the people to go to.
When if with no map necessarily you go on, you use your GPS and just use that to navigate around.
There are Go Trekker maps. So there are maps that you can buy that the former owner of Churchill River Canoe Outfitters, it just changed hands. It used to be Rick Drediger, and now it's Martin. Rick's son, he took over kind of like the mapping side of stuff like that. He's no longer running Churchill or helping him running a Churchill River Canoe Outfitters. Apparently, he's got the mapping business. So if you go on to Go Trekker Maps and type in Saskatchewan or whatever, and a whole bunch of stuff will come out. Or come up, and it lists portages, it lists whitewater levels, like with the class 1, class 2 or whatever, shows portages and stuff like that, and campsites. So there are certain things you can go by, but the trip that I'm doing going up to the Porcupine River is I'm going to be going across Black Lake, and then there's a whole bunch of undocumented stuff, which I basically print off the old Canadian topographic maps. I mark it up, and I basically look at satellite imagery saying I can portage here, I can camp possibly here, and I mark it up, and I go by that. And usually a lot of times what I'll do is with the portages that are unknown, I'll print off satellite imagery just so I can see what I'm getting into, probably the best way to approach it. Because there's a lot of times when I pulled up to a place and I'm like, oh man, what's going on? It looks like it's supposed to be here. And, you start searching through the bush and you're like, no, that's not going to work. So having that satellite imagery, it helps out so much. So yeah. And then, but the porcupine coming down, I'll be using one of those Go Trekker maps to come down and get back to Black Lake. It's basically a loop I'll be doing.
Are you able to get more recent satellite imagery? Like, if it's a, Google Maps is 3 years as a general rule, 3 years out, that portage is gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There are, I heard Bing mapping is supposed to be better. Somebody just told me the other day than Google Earth. It's got more up-to-date satellite imagery. There is a Saskatchewan website that I go to. It's a Saskatchewan government website, and you can get a whole bunch of stuff off that. Like you can get burn history. You can get, what else? Just what fish are in what lakes, mining, energy, like just a whole bunch of host of stuff. You can actually go in and see, like, for example, on the trip that I'm editing right now, I came by a mining claim. So somebody had a claim and they were doing some exploration. There's a bunch of flagging tape, and I was like, what the heck is this? And you can actually go into this Saskatchewan website and actually find out who has the claim on that area or what company is actually doing something there. So yeah, it's and I can get fairly up to date satellite imagery. So you have a few to choose from. How about you guys? Any suggestions?
No, I was just going to say that's some giant brain stuff, like to figure out that's because I'd start with Google Earth. We almost exclusively do provincial parks, simply because there's so many of them, and I don't have to think. I can just buy a map. Bob's my uncle, and I'm off to the races. Like, I don't have to. It's super easy for old guys.
Yeah, just maps that long. Those are the ones that we use.
Yeah. They've already done all the work. They know how long it's going to take to go through there. What kind of, if you're going to get into rapids or anything like that, where all the sites are, et cetera, et cetera. So that it removes the whole rocket science part for me.
Yeah, but how cool to be like the first one who ever went through this area.
Sure.
Yeah, it's
and another off-topic question: Skittles. What's that all about?
Oh, haven't eaten. Yeah, it's Skittles. I don't know. It just makes you happy. It's just like just a mouthful of awesomeness, and they're bright and colorful, especially on a gloomy day. And you're kind of looking at them, and you're like, "Oh yeah, man, it's freaking awesome." So it just kind of makes you happy. It's like I like wearing Maui Jim sunglasses with the rose-colored tint, and it brightens everything up and makes everything just look so much happier, especially on those
rose-colored
rainy,
glasses.
gross days. So yeah, it's awesome. Anything to help you out, right? Like,
yep, I can see that.
Yeah, well, sponsorship opportunities too.
That's it. Yeah. I'm the Skittles guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I want to try and get a sponsor from KFC. I don't.
Excuse me. Yeah, that'd be all right.
Yeah, get a sponsor from KFC, and it. I love going and eating their chicken after I go on a big trip, because it's like I feel like my metabolism's like it's 18 again, and it's like, all right, I can handle a bucket now. And I always stop on the way back. I get KFC. So if they could sponsor like a canoe or something like that for me, I'll call it the Colonel. It'll be red and white. It'll be awesome. So we'll see. No offers yet.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll make sure we flag it for them. We'll hashtag KFC.
Yeah,
that's definitely a thing that the big kid and I, when we're about 2 days away from ending the trip, it's like, oh yeah, there's going to be a really, really, really good burger in 2 days. Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're just starving for calories. Your metabolism's up. Like, you're burning through calories like anything. Especially when you get older, something like that, you're going to feel it for usually like just on a normal day. You would eat it and then you regret it for 3 days. But when you get out of a canoe trip, you go and eat it, and it's just like, oh God. It's just no regrets, not one regret.
Give me all the grease.
Yep. I think I might have just wet myself.
You guys got to come and check it out if you ever have the time. If you're ever passing through, come up to Northern Saskatchewan and paddle around. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Sounds beautiful.
It does, and I've been telling you that your portages, I would take those in a heartbeat.
Right. So, better than what is it? Is it? I can't remember. Is it Quetico? The Diablo portage or something like that? That sounds like a nightmare. There's like a Diablo staircase, and then there's Diablo portage or something. I don't know.
Yes.
There's a bunch of them, but
it's a portage. After you've done, you still have to go through like so much deadfall that you can literally walk on it, break an ankle, but walk on it to get to the portage, and then it's very close to bushwhacking straight up for days. It's we've got some friends that have done it. They're like,
never again.
Yeah, well, I've checked that one off. I'm never doing that again.
Yeah. It's probably the worst portage that I can think of off the top of my head in Saskatchewan. We got, I think it's pronounced methyl portage. So it's going from the Churchill River to the the Clearwater, and I think it's 18 kilometers long, and it's old fur trade stuff, right? That's how you got up to Clearwater to go up to the Mackenzie? I can't even remember. Basically, you get up to Lake Athabasca, and you go that route, and yeah, it's I know a guy who I think was attempting it, but then he hurt his knee, and he had to get carried out, not carried out, but rescued. It's I wanted to do it, but I'm getting a little gray in the beard. So it's like now it just doesn't seem appealing at all. It just sounds like a lot of pain, and I'm just trying to avoid that. So
18 kilometers isn't a portage. That's hiking, man.
yeah, that's your canoe trips turns into a hiking trip for sure.
Yeah. No, thank you. Nope.
Okay.
All right. Outro.
All right, that's it for us for today. Thank you so much to our special guest, Tyler Chilabecki from the YouTube channel Puddle Jumper. Please do check him out. Check us out on YouTube while you're there, and check us out at all the social media if you would like. You could email us anytime at hi@supergoodcamping.com. That's hi@supergoodcamping.com, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.